Very, very warm welcome to all of you. Very warm welcome to Digital Catapult and to our celebration of 10 years of being in business. And there are many familiar faces among the 100 or so people in the room tonight. And a very warm welcome to all of you online. There are about 300 of you watching us streaming this live tonight. So those of you in the room, you better behave yourselves. And the other thing, just to let you know, just from a housekeeping point of view, I love this. This is the bit where I'm supposed to behave like a cabin assistant. So quick housekeeping note, there are no fire drills planned for tonight. If you hear the alarm bell, it's the real deal, and our team of fire wardens will appear in high-vis jackets and safely escort you out of the building, and there is a fire exit here and here. Right. Now, it would be very easy to reflect on the journey we've been on and what we've achieved and celebrate our success. And so you are going to have to forgive me if we do indulge ourselves a little bit in this evening. But first and foremost, though, it's impossible to talk about the impact we've made as an organization without giving credit to our amazing team, some of whom have been here for nearly all of those 10 years. Now, there are one or two of you in the room who've been here nearly that long. Just wave to us and tell us who you are. Come on, you too. Yes. Yeah. 10 years of service. That's an amazing achievement. Thank you. We're at the point where we're making real impact at an individual firm level, helping startups to reach multi-million-pound investments, helping multinationals reduce the costs by significant margins, leading to tens of millions in savings and reductions in carbon emissions. And our strategic interventions have led to the emergence of almost entirely new sectors as a result of the sustained and persistent focus on the opportunities. For example, in the immersive technologies space, we started with the first commercial volumetric capture studio outside the US, ahead of Los Angeles in 2017, ahead of Los Angeles, I like saying that. We went on to collaborate with Andy Serkis's Imaginarium Studios as they did world-leading work in artist-led performance capture. And we ran with Arts Council England, a pioneering program called Creative XR, which for 3 years helped over 60 companies prototype new ideas and take them to fruition on major global platforms like Meta's Oculus Store or to major public exhibitions like the Venice Biennale or Tribeca Festival. And this year, pioneered by our Director of Immersive Technologies, Driscoll, who you're going to hear from later on, we opened our network of advanced media production studios and labs that link London to Gateshead with state-of-the-art production facilities, including LED screens, camera tracking, game engines, all linked by a private 5G network. And all of this has helped to stimulate a thriving new immersive sector made up of over 2,000 companies drawn from the fragmented expertise that previously existed around UK film, TV, games, visual effects, and audio. And similarly, it was our decisive strategic view of long-term opportunities in 5G back in 2016 that led us to lead the translation of 5G out of academic labs and into the workbenches of industry. And partly funded by government, partly funded by industry itself, we developed expertise both in tech and in business, helping companies figure out the case for investment by using 5G testbeds to really see how it would work. And we just launched our 14th, that's 14th 5G testbed just last week in Derry, Londonderry. So most recently, in the 5G space, we've been helping DCIT and Ofcom to drive diversification of the supply chain for mobile operators in the telecom sector itself. And this long-term work led by Dr. Dritan Kaleshi, I don't know where Dritan is, but he might be here somewhere. There he is, yes, has provided us leadership, vision, and dogged determination for over 7 years here in this field. And that means that we're now maturing and scaling our impact. And Sonic Labs, where we do some of that work, is now a £20 million program. Similarly, in the supply chain, our £25 million digital supply chain innovation hub is accelerating the digitization of logistics, of provenance tracking, increasing transparency in component availability, and helping reduce the number of empty freight trucks on our roads from the current 30% of them who run empty. And right now, we're in the final stages of bringing to fruition our largest programme to date. So to be located in Belfast, in Northern Ireland, our National Digital Twin Centre will be a £40 million programme, partly funded by Belfast City Council and the Northern Ireland Department for the Economy, and partly by Innovate UK. And of course, partly by our industrial partners, who are also with us this evening. Thales, Spirit, and Belfast startup Artemis, whose CEO Iain Percy will be on a panel in a little while. Nice to see you. And the centre's purpose will be to increase access to digital twin technologies, reduce the barriers to entry, but also increase the interoperability between digital twins to make them even more powerful as control centres, not just design tools. So as an organisation, our remit began as a relatively simple ask to capitalise on the academic expertise of our universities. And by the way, our relationships with universities has never been stronger, and we have some really close and growing relationships with universities around the country, not least of which is with the University of Bristol, many of whose representatives are here this evening, and whose Vice-Chancellor, Evelyn Welch, you will hear from as well later on this evening. And over time, that remit has expanded. And as people have begun to understand the value of these strange things called catapults, and so in addition, we also now grow economic prosperity more widely across the regions. So you've heard about our plans and our activities in Northern Ireland, and our colleagues from the northeast of England are here with us this evening. We also aim to make our workforce and our partners' workforces more diverse and more inclusive. And we've started to do foresighting work that can signpost what digital skills might be needed for future jobs. But perhaps the single biggest evolution of our remit has been in increasingly addressing climate change and looking to facilitate net zero targets in our programs and help reduce industrial carbon footprint in almost everything we do. So we've grown fast. From the early days with 80 staff to nearly 300 staff today. We've increased our turnover, if that's what counts. I'm not sure that it is, but it's something. From about £12 million a year to just under £40 million this year. And we're responsible for driving over £270 million worth of programs with industry and academia this year. And the amount of private investment raised by companies who've worked with DC over the last 10 years is a staggering £4 billion. But the world of technology is still an incredibly confusing place for a lot of businesses, especially those who aren't deep tech companies. In the FT just last week, there was an article that revealed a survey showing 87% of CEOs in the UK think that AI will be the most significant strategic factor influencing their business in the next 5 years. 65% of them said they had no idea what the strategic response to that should be, but despite that, 61% said they plan to invest this year. So, we've heard this before, and this is part of why we're here. The leading edge technical expertise in our team is here to help guide senior strategists in UK businesses to help navigate the complexities of technology adoption and help make smart choices amidst the conflicting blandishments of hyperscale tech vendors. And the landscape is certainly fast moving. Acted out on the world stage this last week has been one of the most public boardroom dramas any of us has ever seen reported. Sam Altman being fired by the directors of the not-for-profit trust who owns the commercial company, OpenAI, and his subsequent hiring by Microsoft, and then being reinstated by a new version of his original board. I mean, you couldn't write this stuff. So what's really going on here? The not-for-profit spawned the world's fastest growing company ever. OpenAI reached 100 million in monthly sales in less than 6 months. That's quite an achievement for a not-for-profit. So why fire the boss? Well, you can ask me later and I can give you my personal opinions, but the truth is we may never know what's going on and what went on in that particular boardroom table. But there is an important subtext behind this debate, which is whether it would be better, safer and easier and more pro-societal to have a few large, very advanced players regulated by governments around the world, or whether we should encourage 1,000 flowers to bloom in an open source digital renaissance. Discuss. So, what does this have to do with Digital Catapult? Well, we sit in an incredibly privileged and occasionally uncomfortable spot between government, industry, investment, and entrepreneurship. But our role is to help drive UK opportunities in the supply side of new innovative businesses, as well as supporting the demand side of traditional industry. And so in the teeth of global tech giant dominance, the UK has to specialise, and it needs to promote open source, interoperable solutions to compete with the dominant monoliths, to increase choice and competition in markets and encourage the development of new businesses, and indeed whole new sectors. Openness and interoperability, it turns out, are major themes across almost all of our programs. So we're helping companies collaborate, we're helping businesses think through how to use the tech and be better, more responsible businesses along the way. The planet remains confused and in tension over which way to go with technology, particularly AI. And looking around the world these days, having just secured, thank you Innovate UK, our catapult funding for the next 5 years, I think we're likely to be in even more demand over the next 10 years too, because there is still so much to do. And we look to the future and the increasing challenges of climate change. We will continue to drive innovation, foster collaboration, increase investor confidence to support the growth of the UK economy, and help ensure that the digital transition is also a green transition. So thank you for joining us tonight to celebrate our achievements and for your support over the years as we've navigated the uncharted waters of the digital economy. We don't do normal here. But if you thought the first 10 years were fun, just wait and see how amazing the next 10 years are going to be. The best is still to come. But seriously, I do want to thank you for being critical friends and critical to our success. I especially want to thank our core funders, Innovate UK, the wider UKRI family. I want to thank our illustrious board, led by the indomitable Jürgen Meyer. I want to thank our senior leadership team and our nearly 300 members of staff. There are many of you here and online who've supported Digital Catapult throughout our first year, 10 years, and we're nothing without our fantastic partners. So it's through your willingness to collaborate that we're able to advance opportunity in the UK for the benefit of all. Thank you very much.